Good morning. My name is Missy Dominguez. My pronouns are she, her, and our welcoming words this morning come from your teal hymnal. They are the words, I'm sorry, the gray hymnal. They are the words to We Celebrate the Web of Life. We celebrate the web of life, its magnitude we sing, for we can see divinity in every living thing. A fragment of the perfect whole, in cactus and in quail, as much in tiny barnacle as in the great blue whale. Of ancient dreams we are the sum, our bones link stone to star, and bind our future worlds to come with worlds that were and are. Respect the water, land, and air, which gave us all creatures birth. Protect the lives of all that share the glory of the earth.
My gosh, the choir's going to get so big with all of these singers. Everyone's got a place in the choir. I heard that song once. Does anyone want to come forward and have some time for all ages with our Wonder Box? Would you like to come up? Yeah, come on up. Let's all come forward. If you want to come sit up here. Oh my gosh, I'm a little thrown off by all the cuteness in the crowd. And there's some stare downs happening with some of these dogs. How's everyone doing? Are you doing good? You doing good? Oh my gosh. So there's a lot of pets here. And how many of you have pets at home out there or that are here with you today? And how many of you are maybe not much of pet people? It's okay. It's okay. It's safe. This is safe. And then how many of you maybe don't have a pet, but you kind of wish you could, but it's just not the right time in life or situation like that? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. And how many of you know why we have pets? Why do we have pets? You have an idea why do we have pets? Why do you think we have pets? So we can have someone to share our life with. Thank you. Excellent. That was so sweet. Thank you. Well, why else might we have? Why else might someone have a pet? Us or someone else? Yeah. Oh, okay. This is like reincarnation here. Vessels of love. I like that. Why do you have a pet? To have fun with. I like that. That's fun. They relieve stress. I like that. Other reasons people have pets? They make you laugh. To have your what? To have your things taken from you. You don't want to get on your high horse, keep you down a lot. Yeah. To have some security, yeah. Oh, the dog is like an extra barker, extra doorbell, yeah. If you're lonely, yeah, you can have a pet that keeps you not feeling lonely. Does anyone else have any ideas of why we have pets? Yeah. Ooh, to help you be a better person, so they can be teachers sometimes. Anyone else? Yeah. To learn responsibility. Anyone else have anything? Well, I have one more idea, and it's sort of having to do with. They are sometimes. Yeah, that's true. So I have another one. Oh, I opened it without even asking anyone. Who would like to open the Wonder Box? That's the whole reason you all show up. Yeah, come on. Come on. There we go. You want to just pull it open right here. Oh, can you hand me that piece of paper? Oh, thank you so much. You can sit down. We'll come back for those in a second. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Oh, so this reminds me of a little bit of a poem that I like. And it's about sometimes when we are not feeling really happy. Did someone say out there that they can help you feel like happy or help you feel good? Did anyone say that out there? Well, sometimes I think they can also be really good at being with us when we are at when we're not in a good place. So we might be sad, we might feel helpless, things like that, okay? So I'm going to read you this little poem, okay? Can I read it to you? Okay, this is what it's called. It's called When I Feel Helpless. What's helpless mean? What's helpless? Like, yeah, you don't have any help and you just feel like, what am I going to do? Right? Do any of you ever feel that way? Feel a little helpless, feel a little like, I'm not sure what to do. Okay, so this is the poem, okay? Ready? If I can do nothing more, I go out the back door and sit on the steps where the tuxedo cat rubs my leg, and I look for the holy. If you call it life or God or mystery, it's okay. It's all in the thesaurus of sacred things. When trapped in the grimace of chaos and pain, I can kneel here in the grass at night amidst the sinuous dance of the grass, of moth or night-wing bats, especially when the moon is a full bowl of holiness. Or maybe I smell the first rain after drought, bedding down in the cricketing field, and then I know, meet me there where we can do nothing much together, but think and breathe holiness and pet the white whisker cat. And so that poem, as much as we were hearing that, is a little bit about sometimes, like what you said, pets can be there to help us when we're in sad places. And sometimes they can help us just be present to our feelings and things like that. Now, I think that today you're all going to be doing something fun outside, maybe playing with water and water games. Is that right? But I think before you go, I thought we might all, if the parent of the pet agrees, we might all give our pets one of these. What are these? What are these? Dog treats. And who made these dog treats? Were any of you around when you made these a couple of weeks ago? Let me see. These are homemade pumpkin. I think it's very basic, just like pumpkin and flour. Okay, so even if you want one, when we pass them around, so I'm going to give each of the kids one. And if you're a pet owner out there and have and would like to give your one, just raise your hand, and one of the kids will come around to give you one. Okay, so you can each grab one. You can grab one. There you go. And we'll play the music through maybe just a little longer than usual, and we'll sing our kids out to their classes.
I want to share with you this morning a reflection about a pet that was very significant to me. I was around 8 years old when my parents divorced, and it was a very hard time for everyone. But there was something wonderful that happened during that time, and that was my cat, Smokey. Shortly after my parents' divorce, my dad started dating a lady that I don't really remember. I don't know that I ever actually met her, but she is how I got my first pet. She had an old barn cat that she never bothered to get spayed. And whenever an unwanted litter occurred, she wasn't a very nice human. One night, she handed my dad a bag full of rocks that meowed at him and said, "Hey, go throw this in the river for me." Next thing you know, I had a cat and daddy was single again. Smokey was a tiny gray cat. He was way too small to be away from his mother when I got him. And I honestly don't know why he came to me instead of any of my sisters, but it was very quickly apparent that he was my cat, mainly because he mauled anyone else who tried to pet him. He used to sleep curled up in my hair next to my neck, just below my ear. And it was really cute when he was a tiny little cat, but it got difficult as he got bigger. And he got a lot bigger. So, as it turns out, Smokey was a cross between a common tabby and a Maine Coon. So, he reached 20 pounds before he was a year old, and he had massive paws, like they would cover the palm of my hand. So, most of my friends refer to him as my guard cat because of his size and his tendency to send people to the ER for stitches. He did that a lot, not to me. Smokey did have a soft and cuddly side, but only I got it. In high school, I had a skateboard that I spent a lot of time on and a lot of time falling off of. And it became a regular thing to go out to the garage to get my skateboard, and there'd be a dead mouse, a dead frog, a dead bird. He apparently loved me, but did not approve of my hunting skills. I could pick him up for pets and cuddles, but everyone else had to proceed with caution. And I very quickly learned that if Smokey didn't like someone, I should listen. He was an excellent judge of character. Smokey was my closest companion for 17 years and moved house with me 6 times. Once while moving, he went missing. I had never worried about letting him go outside because he never went far. But when the truck was all packed up, I couldn't find him. I searched the neighborhood for hours, but eventually had to leave and was heartbroken. A week later, I stopped at a gas station about a block from my old house to get gas and some air in my tire. So I left my driver's side door open and I walk around to the back passenger side tire and I air that up and I walk back around the car and go to get back in. And there's Smokey, just sitting in the driver's seat of my car staring at me like nothing had happened. Like I had not just spent an entire week in agony mourning his loss. There he was, did not care. So he got a 10-piece chicken nugget that night for dinner. And I let him sit on the couch with me and eat it in my new apartment. And that night he sat with me and he watched me sign up for this new and exciting social media site called Facebook, back when only college students could get it. And I got to get it. So I was excited. As he aged, he needed a lot more care. And I was happy to give him anything he needed. He eventually developed a cancerous mass in his throat, and the only thing that I could do for him was to keep him on pain meds for the last few weeks. One day, after weeks of him barely moving, he suddenly got up and wanted to go outside. So I had been working in hospice for a few years at that point, and I recognized it as a final rally when I saw it. So I opened the back door, and he ran off into the woods, and I never saw him again. A lot of friends and family asked me why I would let him go outside if I knew what would happen. But why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I cook him special meals and let him sleep on my bed? He was a better friend to me than most of the humans I knew at that point. Pets give us unconditional love and acceptance. They don't care what you look like or how off key you sing in the shower. A pet will never judge you for your tattoos or your very questionable decisions in the dating world. They only care that you love them back. Animals are excellent judges of character because they look past the superficial aspects that trip us up as humans. I envy the people who say they don't understand why some people are so close with their pets. What kind of amazing unconditional love did you get as a kid if you never felt the need to snuggle the dog and avoid the people? If you see someone who seems to love their animals just a little too much, ask yourself how many humans had to hurt them before they decided that it was safer to love a pet than a person. Then give some thanks for the fact that you don't understand. There's a lot of hurt and struggle in life, and sometimes our pets can add to that. But most of the time, they're the soothing presence in the midst of our pain. And for that, I feel that pets deserve more credit and more treats. Let them on the couch, buy them all the toys, feed them their favorite people food, buy them little pink dresses that they hate. Spoil them all you want because they don't last forever. But memories of eating chicken nuggets and accepting Tom's friend request do. Long live our pets. Our reading today is titled When Your Best Friend Has Four or So Legs. What it means to have a pet is to love someone who speaks a language you do not. A dog will bow and prance, a cat will purr and blink, a guinea pig will giggle and squeak. A long time ago, a friend of mine had a dog with soft ears and considered herself the pup's guardian. A gentle way to think of protecting and caring for a friend. Such a small gesture of respect for a source of boundless love. The dog's long pink tongue lolling in a goofy grin. The cat convinced that kneading and grooming are crucial to this day. A bird asking for a treat, bending a wing to wave. These are friends. They are loves. It's kind of a surprise that you should love someone so much who would eat the butter off the table if they could get away with it, and gets endless hair on the sofa when they aren't even supposed to be on the furniture. When they are called companion animals, it's such an open, tender truth. The endless cuddles and tricks and loyalty, the comfort of fingers to fur and big, adoring eyes. These are friends. They are loves. They stretch our hearts and fill them with their abundance of kindness. When they are gone, our hearts remain larger, though their absence leaves room for expanses of grief. Their love champions and companions us still.
As I said, I was at General Assembly this week, and this was my 15th General Assembly, which is an annual gathering, as I mentioned, and it's rare for me to leave early. I'm a kind of, what's it called, extroverted. And so 3,000 Unitarian Universalists, having known many of them for a long time, especially the ministers, religious professionals, UUA staff. I used to work for the UUA, the National Association. It's not easy for me to leave early, but there's two really great reasons I did. One, of course, is that family first, and I wanted to be home and spend more time with my kids and support Hattie and support our just have time with them. And then the second is Pet Sunday, which you might say, with everything going on in this world, with the events of last night or yesterday, with the legislation, the Supreme Court case that came out in just the last few days, Pet Sunday might, to many of us, feel a bit frivolous. It might feel a little extracurricular, not the main curriculum of our work. And I have to push back and say that I think sometimes it is in these services that are annual, often annual, these services that often play at a larger theme of interdependence, a topic of our interdependence with all life, that reminds us of the gravity and pathways forward through the gravity of our lives today. And I hope that this service reinforces that. You see, oftentimes our pets become sort of extracurricular. They're seen as not kids, or they're seen as not human. They're less than. But for many people, they are the things that actually humanize. They're the beings that humanize us, that gives us our humanity. The invitation, I suppose, to be humane in our living. And as we practice with the least of these, sometimes we practice out in other ways. And so my hope is that the themes that we're exploring invite us to take serious the gravity of Pet Sunday, and the invitation to take Pet Sunday as sort of a high holy day, if you will, if we have those in Unitarian Universalism. When I was about 13 years old, I think I finally won over my parents to get a dog. I had not had a dog up to that point. I was a very needing I needed a lot as a child, and a dog seemed maybe like one too many things. But as math sometimes does, adding one more needy thing can kind of counteract, and then they're both taken care of, you know. So, but before we got the dog, a good Montessori special needs teacher that my mother is retired now. She invited me to do a little project, and so. And this is sort of my style too, as a former Montessori kid. I got a big piece of paper and made a little grid, and then I got this big book. I think it was by like the ACE or Canine, like a big canine organization that had every single dog possible with all of their behavior, all of their history and things like that. And so I went through it. And I went through it and I kind of took notes and I put like kind of ranked some of them or at least pulled out the best. But then instead of stopping there, I decided to ask my parents, well, what do you think? You know, because it's not all about me, right? It's about them too. And so I got their input. And I got my brother. He was off in college, but I still wanted his input. So I had these different kind of top choices, whatever. And then I decided, that's not enough. I invited all the neighborhood kids to weigh in. I started just working the neighborhood. Some kids who barely knew me. But I just said, I need your input on this. This is a big decision. And so I started getting all these. And, I don't even remember what the top several were. I do know that one of them that was very high up there was the Rhodesian Ridgeback, which I don't know if that would have been a good choice or not. But for some reason, that got high rankings in our neighborhood. And so eventually we did end up. It did end up getting the sort of trendy at the time and still pretty trendy, the golden doodle. Or the goodle, as I like to call it, sort of an Italian dish, the goodle. And we went to an ethical, well, I think it was pretty ethical. We did some research on them up in Canada, and we drove all the way up there to meet this golden doodle family, a family that has been doing working with golden doodle breeding for some time. And then we brought the pet home. We named him because we're waiting for the name, right? Berkeley. And Berkeley was a yellow, kind of wavy-haired golden doodle. And I remember we took out the middle column of our minivan so we could have the crate in there, and drive. So it was kind of somewhat safe. I don't know. It was kind of looking back, probably not the safest way to get home. But we got home, and I remember on the drive home, and I remember this to this day. He sneezed. He sneezed in the car ride. You ever seen a puppy sneeze? It's very cute. And I said, bless you. I kid you not. He winked at me. He winked at me, and I just knew it. We were locked. And we had many adventures, Berkeley and I. Lived long enough to meet Hattie. Of course, Hattie's dog, a 20-year-old Chihuahua, was a great little pairing with this 100-pound golden doodle. But it was a really wonderful partnership. I was not the most popular kid in middle school and high school. I was often the one who talked with the teachers more than the students. I was not really I was not one of the athletic ones. I was the mascot for the team. I was in musical theater. I was, did all that fun stuff. Now we know that was a good route to ministry, but so Berkeley was in many ways a very good friend, a very reliable friend. He did this thing where he would sit on a step with his back, his bottom on the step, but his paws down, almost like it was a chair. So he'd sit kind of like that. And I always just felt like he might have been a human in dog clothes. And of course, as most of these stories go, as Missy shared as well, these pets, these friends don't last forever, right? And so I do remember, the time that we had to put him down. We weren't there with him. He was getting old, and we were at a UU summer camp of all places, and gave the gave the word to the pet sitter and that it was time. And maybe my mom made it back in time. I don't really remember. But it was a really tender piece. And now, of course, we have these other dogs, and there's that kind of comparison that comes up when you have pets over time. And the beautiful thing is that our pets sort of stay with us and remind us of different chapters of our life and things like that. Um, but but ultimately, I was thinking about Berkeley this week, and then again this morning, thinking about just his the gifts that he brought to my life, and I'm guessing that many of you, and especially hearing Missy's reflection, could reflect on your own stories or stories that you know other people in your life, friends, family, have had with their pets, which reminds me just how much this is not extracurricular, but central to the work of becoming ever more human by engaging with the more than human world that we live in. So what we're going to do is I'd like for us to have a little bit of time for sharing, because sometimes the words that you all have or bring or that emerge for you in this moment are kind of the right kind of note. I think I do have some sort of question in the back of my. Let's see what I wrote. Oh yeah, that one's good. What can pets, ours and others, teach us about love, courage, and care today? You ever read those questions? Are those just kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes they're hit, sometimes they miss. It's okay. Um, we hope that there's something to take home from this. But what can pets, ours and others, teach us about love and courage today? We didn't get the full, maybe the gravity of the parallel of our Time for All Ages landed with some of you. That sometimes when we're with our pets, they do teach us something about love and courage and care. Um, when we receive news, personal, familial, communal, national, international news. And I'm just curious for you personally, in this moment, reflecting on your past or your present, how you might respond to that question. What can pets, ours and others, teach us about love, courage, and care today? All right, about this world we're living in today. I was going to incentivize with a treat for each person who raises their hand, but I don't think we need that kind of encouragement. Yeah. And say your name.
Steve Jasper, and what I learned is about love from our first dog and our second dog is that it's unconditional. And I actually learned this or heard about this from a guy that I taught with for about 30 years. I'd never had a dog before Judy and I were married, never, even as a child, never had a pet. But this guy that I taught with, in his family, there was always a dog, and he talked about the things that he appreciated most about his pet dogs. And one of them that I've always remembered is that when he gets home from work every day, it doesn't make any difference how bad or challenging, difficult his day has been. When he walks in the door, his dog is always happy to see him. And so it didn't quite resonate with me until I had a dog, and then I full well understood what he was talking about because it was true.
Hi, I'm Jan Lucas, and this is Anya. And I rescued her, well, she rescued me actually at the Humane Society where I walk dogs every week. I've had pets since I was very little. I've had horses and goats and dogs and cats, and I think that's it. But there's something so unique about a dog. And I recommend you dog lovers watch this documentary called Inside the Mind of a Dog, because they really are so attuned to humans. And I've experienced that in all kinds of ways. They're super sensitive and they know things about us that we don't even know. And that There is a bumper sticker that the Humane Society puts out that says who rescued who. And I think that's the case right here. She rescued me.
Thank you, Jan.
Hi, I'm Chris. So Mark and I have a wonderful friend named Sylvia. And what she has done the past several years is one at a time, she has raised at least 8 golden retriever puppies, one at a time, getting them ready to go to college to become service dogs. I think she was here one time with one of her dogs. So, one of her dogs that she really fell in love with, that we all knew was going to flunk out of college. He was just so social, you know, and he just couldn't contain himself. And that's not really valued in a service dog. So, and she has raised puppies that did make it through. And, you know, she has met with the people that they are helping. And I mean, it's just such a wonderful thing. And watching her work with those dogs has just been amazing. But so now she has this dog named Andre who is a pet. But while he can't be a service dog, he is a certified therapy dog. So she takes him to places that need some love. And, you know, by doing this work through the dogs and having this pet, she is helping so many people. You know, it's just such a beautiful thing because he's a really beautiful dog.
I'm Carla, and the funny thing is, I never liked German Shepherds when I was growing up in New York, but something changed in 2003. I had a messy breakup when I was younger, in my 30s, and an ex-boyfriend decided to stalk me, and I live not far from where this actually happened. If it wasn't for Marco, a German Shepherd, and we all learned to like him, very important because that dog got its owners up when something happened twice, and that dog barked and kept saying, hey, there's somebody around here. So I finally learned I can finally trust more German Shepherds. I like them better as adults. That's the weirdest thing. I never thought that would ever happen.
So they can definitely offer some, per, security, protection. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Candace, and I brought Tess the ferret today, and she's taught me a lot about forgiveness because she likes to steal everything, my socks, my keys, anything cooking utensil wise. And she's taught me to really think to really think that things are okay and I shouldn't really have an issue with forgiving people or myself even because things will be okay.
That's good. We haven't heard that word as much yet. Forgiveness. Thank you. Yeah. And I'm glad we have the ferret. Definitely go see Tess because very sweet, sweet dog. Or ferret, sorry. Oh.
Hi, I'm Amanda. Some of you know. Hi. Some of you know I work for Turning Point Domestic Violence Services, and we run a shelter here in town. And we have therapy animals that come and visit the families in shelter. We have a courtyard in between my office building and the shelter with one-way windows. And Gordon, the miniature horse, comes, I think, once a month. And it is the most beautiful thing to see all these people who are in probably the worst situations that they've ever been in, these little kids grooming Gordon, and Gordon's just chilling there, eating his apple. And it's just a really beautiful thing, and the healing and calming power of animals, even Gordon.
Yeah, rebuilding trust, yeah, beautiful. Any more comments about pets, yours or others? Or even I heard who was talking about the deer. That was really great. Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Any others? Yes.
Hi, my name is Peg. I just wanted to say that I have a dog. Her name is Gypsy. And like Jan said earlier, she really saved me in a really bad point in my life when my husband passed away several years ago. I'm remarried now, but it was really hard. And I'm sorry, this was totally unexpected. I'm sorry. Um, I was at a really bad point, and I went to the Humane Society and she was there, and I was looking at all the dogs down the roads, and I was just standing there, and all of a sudden this little lick came on my hand, and I didn't even notice her, and I looked down and she was right there, and I knew right then that she was for me. I took her home, and again, I was at a really low point in my life, and she literally saved me. And I have a personalized plate on my car that says "Get a dog." So, that's just a little fun fact. So, but yeah, animals are very, very important. So, thank you.
Thanks for sharing that. Last one.
Hi, I'm Rowan. Um, I have a pretty close friend who I've known for about 15 years. I met her when I was a child through my mother. She's an 80-year-old woman, one of the strongest people that I know, but she's incredibly short. She does water polo. Um, she was a wrestler in school, and she has an exotic animals handling license. So she's been rescuing animals for about 30 years. Um, and at some point, she met an animal that probably not a lot of you know, but it's a fox. It's a fennec fox. They're a species local to most deserts. They're very small. They have something called brittle bone disease. So this is a very small, very powerful 80-year-old woman taking care of a tiny little fox that breaks its legs jumping off of a table that cannot stop running in circles and screaming. Um, Exotic animals, handling them is incredibly difficult. We have dogs and we have cats, but there's a lot of different creatures out there that need different kinds of care, and we don't really think about those. Like fennecs and some others, they're still animals and they can still definitely be pets and they can have just as much of an impact. Um, but it's just a whole different world of care compared to the kind of animals that we think about as pets.
Well, we need to get your friend here to the congregation by next year. I also think that that's a great comment about, how does the having of pets then to humans, is there a leaping over of sort of the other animals or the other parts of the ecosystem? The next step from pet is not the next domesticated level of the animal kingdom, but it could also be this other area. Or what is it, linear towards domesticated is good and that is bad, and so let's move this direction. So I think reminding us of the importance of the kinds of animals, and that's true in the Humane Society, the animals that are older, the animals that are of certain breeds oftentimes don't get because of reputation and just, yeah. So I just want to end with just another thought that in this world that we're living in a world that needs more resilience, courage, and love, I hope that the messages that we've heard today, that not only can pets be life lifting, but life saving to us and to those around us, that could remind us to be a little extra compassionate, be a little bit more in tune with the gifts that our animals and our pets sometimes embody better than we do. So my hope and blessing for today is that we can learn from our animals, learn from our pets, and then together sort of lessen that gap between what we identify as a pet and what we identify as human towards what we identify as our collective family and kin. When we leave today, as you're coming out, I'm happy to give the pets one more treat and also say a little nice thing into their ear as a little blessing. I won't tell you what I say, though. It's just for them. To you, I say woof woof. To you, I say ferret ferret. To you, I say go in peace. Amen.